In today's highly connected world, almost every aspect of modern-day life is globally influenced, and the economy is no different. Economic globalization, defined simply, is the widespread international movement of goods, services, and technology. At first, this seems pretty unproblematic. However, as you dig deeper, complications arise. Outsourcing, which is obtaining goods from an outside or foreign supplier, especially in place of an internal one, is a major controversy in America. There are also moral implications of buying goods produced in sweatshops where workers are treated and paid unfairly. Ultimately, several main questions arise. What role does immigration play in our national economy and the larger global one? Is there a way to combat the use of sweatshops in countries like Bangladesh? And finally, what role does the government play in the creation of a global economy?
Immigration is a vital part of globalization because it allows countries to export specific labor to other countries who have need for that labor. The US leads the world in immigration, taking in an average of about 1 million legal immigrants and 100,000 refugees per year. These people mostly come from Mexico, India, and China, and add up to about 43.7 million people total. Of course, this isn't a nonpartisan issue. The US is very divided on immigration at the moment. While both the right and left support legal immigration, there is a massive divide over the issue of illegal immigration.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
The right typically opposes illegal immigration, while the left is more open to it. The overall concerns about illegal immigrants are their cost to the public by taking American jobs and living off welfare. While it is true that illegal immigrants are employed in the US, the issue of taking American jobs isn't of major concern when our unemployment rate is as low as it currently is. The welfare claim does seem to have some weight behind it, according to a new census recorded by the Center for Immigration Studies. They found that 63% of non-citizens are using welfare programs, and most aren't getting off them. This is a concern because it looks like people who aren't paying into the welfare system are the ones reaping the benefits of it. On the other hand, typically everyone's lives are improved as a result of legal immigration. Most immigrants are either at the lowest or highest ends of education, meaning that they're usually doing either low-paying work that most Americans don't want to do, or incredibly important high-paying work that benefits our economy. There are instances where even legal immigration can negatively affect a country, like what we see in France and other parts of Europe at the moment. Due to this, some places like Poland have decided to have completely closed borders in order to protect their people and culture.
Economic globalization has given rise to an age where outsourcing jobs has become a necessity to keep up with the rapid growth of multinational corporations. Part of this trend is the use of sweatshops to produce goods. Sweatshops are defined as factories or workshops, usually used by the clothing industry, where manual workers are employed at very low wages for long hours and under poor conditions. Sweatshops are also defined by a violation of labor laws. Bangladesh is a prime example of a country that has seen a rapid increase in the amount of sweatshops within its borders. Bangladesh is the second largest producer of clothes in the world behind China, and sweatshops within Bangladesh are at the foundation of the global clothing industry. Large companies build sweatshops in Bangladesh because being poor equals cheap labor. Bangladesh is poorer than the United States at any point in the country's existence. That dates back to the signing of the Declaration of Independence in 1776. Bangladesh has about the total wealth that England had in 1550. The Council on Foreign Relations, a non-profit organization, states about 1/5 of people in Bangladesh live on less than $1.90 a day, and the average minimum wage adds up to $68 a month. Children and families work in sweatshops because if they did not, they most likely would not be able to survive. The sad story is that even though this lifestyle is terrible, it is often the best job that one can find. This brings us to a fundamental question. Are sweatshops and outsourcing jobs a necessity in today's global economy? Outsourcing jobs is inevitable, but something needs to be done about the poor working conditions and lack of safe building designs that lead to many deaths. In 2012, a fire broke out in a factory in Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh, killing 112 people due to flaws in the safety system. On April 24, 2013, over 1,100 people died in the collapse of the Savar building, an 8-story building containing multiple sweatshops on different floors right outside of Dhaka. An article in The Guardian states lack of proper building construction, too many floors, and too much heavy equipment are to blame for the collapse of the building. These horrific events have shed light on how little transparency there is between the clothes we wear and the conditions of the workers that make them. Though economic globalization and outsourcing jobs to sweatshops may be inevitable, corporate profits and America's attitude towards commercialism should not come at the extent of losing innocent lives. Every American needs to contemplate how their purchases of material products reflect a larger picture about the condition of workers overseas.
There are two things the government needs to keep in mind when legislating economic globalization: its moral implications as well as its political and economic goals. From an economic perspective, it is important to understand that outsourcing causes unemployment within the initial country. In the United States in 2017, 7.5 million Americans were unemployed in comparison to the 14.7 million jobs outsourced by American companies to areas such as Southeast Asia. While these statistics of American unemployment are concerning to many, the alternative does not bring a much better solution. Many of the jobs filled by overseas workers are manufacturing-based and pay extremely low salaries. In fact, the average salary for a manufacturing job in Bangladesh was 13 cents the past year. If American companies kept all jobs exclusively within the United States, citizens would either have to accept unlivable wages or companies would have to hinder their growth. Furthermore, with less exposure to foreign markets, it is likely that many American businesses would fail as a result of the downward sloping economic spiral. While many people may not like the presence of economic globalization in their countries, it is important for governments to recognize that this is inevitable. The costs associated with protectionism will be too high to create a strong local economy. It is important to keep this in mind when legislating how the economy will run.
No matter how one personally feels about this issue, there is no denying that it is here to stay. Large-scale immigration and sweatshops are key parts of how this delicate system stays afloat. As consumers, we must decide what ethical values we hold near and participate in the economy accordingly. Perhaps workers in poor countries like Bangladesh are better off earning a slim wage than none at all, but we must push for better working conditions. And undoubtedly, the government must remain aware of the presence of a global economy and utilize their power to better suit everyone, especially those people in its home country. This issue is broad and not easily understood. However, we must consider all aspects of the global economy and its impact on nations, companies, and the lives of individuals who benefit from it and the ones who are harmed by it.